Hello and welcome. So today we are here with Cindy and myself for another episode of the Office Hours. We are on a new system here today, so we're using Restream, so this is very new for us. So bear in mind if things go wrong. As normal, if we can share our slides, let's just get the screen share going.
Let me find the share button. Here we have it.
Aha, fantastic. So as normal, we're going to be starting today's office hours in a couple of minutes because we want to give people time to come on in and join us. But whilst we're here, we want to just invite you to ask any questions that you may have already, burning questions, burning desires that you want to know about custom app development in our comments channel. And those comments channel will basically get forwarded to us and we will answer your questions as best as we can, or at least get you in the right resources. Isn't that right, Cindy?
Absolutely right. Doesn't matter if you're watching at LinkedIn or at Facebook or any other social media channel.
Oh, I think Twitch as well.
Twitch as well. Thanks, Penny. So just drop us a comment and it will pop up somewhere on our screens.
Exactly. And just to let you know a little bit of what's going to be going on today, we will also have some other content that we will share with you, but you guys can poke on in at any point and make sure that you can give us all of your questions that you may have. Cool. So we've got a couple of minutes to go. So you might actually see that we're in the same room today. So this is a very special occasion because this doesn't happen often.
No, so luckily we have a team meeting event.
Yep.
So from our developer advocate team at Dynatrace, and we're all meeting in Vienna, and we took the opportunity to stream today live from Vienna.
Yes, and you can see we're in a lovely studio. So yeah, you get the full experience, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
From Vienna. So we are live from Vienna today. Very cool. In the meantime, if you are waiting, like we are waiting for your questions, you can feel free to go and ask a question in the comments channel, or you can take this minute to go grab a quick drink and join us back on the show once we get started. Or you can do some stretches. Have you ever done some office in stretching before?
Actually, yes.
Yes.
Once in a library in Linz.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how any of those go, but
yeah, it goes like
a bit of a room.
That's what I usually do my knees because we're sitting a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So
exactly.
So we're lifting up our knees for any of the audience here.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm just checking some of the comments coming in whilst we're waiting to see if any of them are questions for us. And just a reminder, if you have any questions about app development, we can answer them. So feel free to ask them. Yeah.
I see already the first question.
Oh, fantastic. Should we answer?
Yeah, why not? So I hope I pronounce your name properly. Mahedar is asking, is there any plan of allowing us to create apps at a global level on top of all tenants and then collect data from all tenants and then visualize it at an account level probably? So what is in the plan in the making, literally with some midterm plans that you can deploy apps to Dynatrace or to the Dynatrace hub, and that other people can install the apps there, but still no plans that you collect data across multiple environments. So not out of the box, but you can implement it yourself by using OAuth clients and authenticating against our APIs.
Very cool. That was a very great question to start us off today. And talking of starting us off today, why don't we actually get started a little bit?
Yeah, let's get started. So let me click on the next slide.
Technical difficulties. So today, what can you expect to have in this session? If I just go to the next slide. So, we're actually missing a slide. What can we expect to go into the next session? If I can go back a slide. Fantastic. So in this session, we are going to go through a little bit of highlights of some stuff that we have for you. So today I'll be sharing with you about a partner competition that you can get involved with about apps. I'll also be sharing some highlights with you as well as some questions. Now, the idea of this show is that you can ask questions at any given point in time, and we will stop and we will answer your questions as long as they're about custom app development. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the comments box, and then we will get to those questions. Let's have a look at the partner competition, shall we?
Sure.
Very cool. So nice surprise here today is that we will be hosting, like we did in 2004, another partner app competition. So here on the screen, you can actually see the one who won last year, which was the Spin Dogs, that made this lovely app. I'm not actually entirely sure what the app was about, but it was graphically very nice.
Yep.
But you can go ahead and you can also apply for this partner app competition. So why don't we just go to the next slide and I can explain a little bit about the evaluation criteria. So looking at the evaluation criteria, we want your app to be criteriaed on basically its innovation and uniqueness. So how unique is it? What value is it bringing? What business need is it bringing in? So this could be about monitoring, management, or many different optimization of tasks. The user experience. So how easy is it to navigate within your app? Best practices around this, so incorporating of some of the best practices there, and app completeness, and obviously a little bit about the judge's choice as well. So these are just some high-level things that you can take into consideration. But if you would like to partake in this competition, you can go ahead and hit the link, which I think we're going to send out just in just a second. And you can apply basically in this form to apply to do this partner competition.
Why the link is being sent out? Maybe do you know what are the prizes or what can I win if I participate?
What are the prizes? Well, I believe actually you already know the prizes, Cindy.
So we had the same the last year. The main prize was actually for the winner to go to the Dynatrace Perform conference for free.
Yeah.
But I need to check with the team if we will have the same prizes. But
yeah,
last year's prize
still pretty fresh. So
pretty fresh.
But we'll get back to you on the Dynatrace app competition. Oh, I can see it's already been dropped there in the comments, so you can go ahead and apply for that if you want to get involved. Make sure that you save the link as well if you want to apply for it later.
Yeah, thanks, Penny. So maybe let's jump to the next part of our session. So usually what we have, if there are no Q&As or questions being asked, we prepare some questions up front. And what we usually do here, we check out our Dynatrace developer community and scan a bit of the questions and select some of them which we might think are relevant for everyone who is developing apps on the Dynatrace platform. So let me put the question on the screen. So Dave wanted to know how to actually do some jest tests for our component, the Select V2 component, and he had some issues with it to create those tests. And the reason why he had issues about it, I hope you can see it on the screen. That you have to set up a virtualization mock from the Dynatrace components preview package, actually. So in case you want to do jest testing for the Select V2 component, which we just recently, I think, introduced in the last 2 months, I think we also talked about it in one of our previous sessions. Yeah. So in case you want to test that kind of component with jest, please set the virtualization mock-up from the Dynatrace components, Strata components preview package. Yeah.
And if you're new here and you're wondering, where are we pulling these questions from? Well, actually, we're pulling this from the developer community. So this is a resource here. The office hours is a resource for you to come in and ask us live questions. And if you say you need it a little bit faster and can't wait for the next office hours, you can go ahead and you can use the Dynatrace developer community to ask any of your questions there about development of apps. And just as Nina did here.
Yep. So in case you don't know where you can find the community, it's community.dynatrace.com.
Correct.
And there we have a subforum called Developer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we just sent the link out there to the Dynatrace community as well. So thank you, team backward stage, doing that.
Since there are no new questions yet, I prepared some kind of demo for you guys. So of course, also internally, we have maybe some use cases for which we might use the Dynatrace platform. And I had a quite interesting use case, which I implement actually literally an app. And it was maybe a 1-2 hour exercise. But I want to show you how easy it is actually to build something on top of Dynatrace and to share the use case with you. So maybe, yeah, let me share my other screen.
You just need to stop sharing.
I need to stop sharing. Now we have technical difficulties. Window. Entire screen. Okay, I think the screen share should be up. So what beside what our responsibilities are is moderating the public community. We have also some internal communities, and they are in Slack. And we wanted to know, okay, who is asking the most questions? So we want to do some Slack analytics, which Slack doesn't have out of the box. And what I did, because it was Friday afternoon and I had some free time left, I tried to call via Slack official APIs. I tried to collect all the questions being asked in some channels and put them into Dynatrace and build a dashboard on top of it.
Very cool.
And so, for instance, what you can see here, the data is stored in Grail. I created some dashboards about, okay, who is asking, which department is asking the most questions, which department is answering the questions, and do we have all the replies to those questions asked, right?
Nice. So asking a little question here about this.
Yes.
You said Friday afternoon. How long did it actually take you to do all of this?
Yeah, I think 1 to 2 hours max. So
1 to 2 hours, and you got a nice POC there straight away.
Yeah, straight away. It's like running. So the data is being refreshed, so I think once a day. But let me quickly show you how I did it.
Yeah.
So the custom app part, what I did, so I created a Dynatrace app function and deployed this as a part of a Dynatrace app.
Okay.
And this Dynatrace app function, what it does, it just calls Slack APIs and ingests the data into Dynatrace. And to have it like on a scheduled ingest running, what I did was I created a Dynatrace workflow to trigger my function to do the ingest.
Okay. So you've got a Dynatrace function that's coming in, bringing this data in through this app. So can you maybe show us a little bit about, you're going to show us the workflow.
Yeah, cool. I can show you the workflow actually. And I think, it should be that one, my Slack stats. And as you see here, the execution of the last days. So the last time it was executed today in the morning. But maybe some interesting stats, what's happening there. So I'm fetching, I think, 15,000 users and 2,000 messages, and doing some data wrangling in the backend and ingesting it in Dynatrace. And this whole task, takes just 31 seconds.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So just an use case maybe you can also think of if you need to do some data ingest, you want to automate it a bit. So it's a combination kind of a custom Dynatrace app and with workflows, and then to put the data on a Dynatrace.
So we have a question actually about dashboards. So how could I put one of those dashboards into my own app? Asks Rob.
Good question, Rob. It's pretty easy. In Dynatrace Developer, we have a couple of guides how you can visualize actually data in Grail. Maybe let me jump to on Dynatrace Developer. So this is the place to go if you have any kind of Dynatrace apps related questions. So when you're building Dynatrace apps, and in the search, just search for visualize data. Visualize data, and we have a particular guide about how you can query any data in which is stored in Grail and visualize it and put it, for instance, I think we have it here on a time series chart. So literally the same thing I did. So the answer is check out this guide and see how we are basically querying the data and then putting it on a chart.
We actually have another question here from Eric. Let's just take a little look at that. Is it possible to packet captures from Dynatrace and create a dashboard and alerts based on a specific KPI?
Let me first address this question. Is it possible to packet captures from Dynatrace? and create a dashboard and alerts based on a specific KPI. So Eric, you want to capture something? Okay. So in general, if you want to create some alerts based on a specific KPI, the question is, I mean, I don't know how you plan to store this KPI. I assume it's a time series, and what you have this recently released, or I think we released in the summer, the new Davis anomaly detection app, where you can just enter any kind of KPI as a DQL, and you can add alerts. And as soon as this time series is violated, you will get an alert. So I would say the way to go is, as soon as you have it captured in Grail, you can create an alert, and with the help of the Davis anomaly detector app. But Eric, thanks for the questions. I hope I was able to answer it.
Very cool. So we got those questions coming in, and just a reminder to the audience that if you do have a question about custom app development or building anything on top of Dynatrace in the app world, then we can answer them here. So please make sure that you add them into your comments so that we can see them.
Yeah. So maybe also something about the format, Penny. How often is this happening?
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, we have a cadence of about once a month that it's happening. But yeah, it's all mainly done on a demand basis. So the more that you guys need them, the more we'll be here.
Thanks, Penny. I see we have another question. So we have another question, as you can see on the screen. So one of the questions from a lot of users I came across, I mean, from my peers who use Dynatrace, they have a lot of complex dashboards, and they ask if they can visually get the data or maybe a particular tile from email. Yeah, the dashboard link can be not shared, but can a snippet be shared from a workflow from a custom app? I'm not fully sure if I understand this question. Dashboard can be shared, but can a snippet be shared? So I assume what you want to do, you actually want to send an email out and with some data of the dashboard. Currently, we don't have this available out of the box. So what is currently possible? So you send out an email, and in this email, you would need, like with HTML, like to format your result, what you want to do. But stay tuned. There might be some product updates next year to this.
Can't say anymore.
Yeah.
Cool. Actually, why don't we take a look whilst the audience is building up on their questions a little bit more on your app that you've built there.
Yes.
I would love to see a little bit more of those charts that you've got in there and find out a little bit more about what they are.
Yeah. So maybe if the chart is the fancy thing, maybe you want to see the backend.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So what I did in my app, I mean, it has the most important thing. So what I created an app function, and the app functions are usually in the API folder, because every app function is also accessible by an API. And as you see, it's a bit of a code, and I do there some data wrangling. Maybe when you want to ingest any kind of external data into Dynatrace, usually you have to authenticate against an endpoint. And what I did here, to be on the safe side, so I don't have any hard-coded credentials, and I used the Dynatrace native credential vault to store my secrets to access Slack. And then within this app function, I know the credential ID, and with the credential ID, I access the secret. And
is there any documentation that we can share with our audience today about secrets?
Yes, there is. So if you go to Dynatrace Developer and search for secrets, there should be a guide called Manage Secrets, and you will get your app, for instance, access, as I said, some third-party APIs, and you need to authenticate against them. there's a guide about managed secrets where you will find exactly this example. So I used the credentials vault to store a secret and then access it within my app to do the authentication against this third-party API.
Very cool. That's nice. So now we can actually, you guys can have a look there and check out how to use secrets. So maybe let's go back to your app again. I'm still curious of the looking of the app itself.
You mean the visual representation?
Yes, the UI.
Yeah, the UI. So to be honest, I was pretty lazy. I didn't do any fancy UI. Let me.
There was colors. I saw colors.
Yeah, this was the dashboard. So instead of me coding all the data, like creating the dashboards myself, it was as a POC. It was just much easier to write the DQL queries and visualize it in dashboards.
Yep. So what would it be capable of? So if you were to take this to the next level, where would you go?
So what I would do, I would create a fully fledged like interface app with those dashboards, maybe with a drill in. Like if I want to zoom on somewhere, something. But yeah, as a POC, I didn't want to invest that much time to see just if it's feasible. But the next step would be, okay, let's do some
fancy charts.
Fancy charts. Do some zoom in functionality, drill in functionality. Yeah.
And for all of that UI functionality, I'm guessing we have a nice page for that in the Dynatrace developer. Yeah.
So if you're interested into what Dynatrace apps are capable of, especially the UI, we have our own design system, as you might know, and we have a whole documentation about the design system. So if you go to Dynatrace, to developer.dynatrace.com, and there we have a documentation about all our components you can make use of. And for instance, if you're interested into charts, you can see all the charts we already have released. And not only that, you can see like, okay, they exist, you also see some use cases about the charts. And with all those use cases, we have the code snippets provided with you, so which you can just copy and paste.
I'm actually leading you in this direction because later on in the show, I'm going to show you a lovely new video that I made talking a little bit more about the Strata design system. But in the meantime, we do have a question. So, Sini, if I build a custom app, how do I control access to that particular app? I mean, if I want to build an app only for admin users, is it possible to control the access?
Perfect question. The answer to it is yes, in general, yes. Not sure how familiar you are with Dynatrace Identity and Access Management, but with Dynatrace Identity and Access Management and policies, you can literally limit access to certain users to certain apps. For your use case, maybe I will just jump into our documentation, and I hope, we have this IAM reference. And for your use case, if you want to limit the access to an app to just a certain group of people, you have to create a custom policy. And for running apps, the policy you need is the policy app engine apps run. And on this policy, you can set some conditions. And the condition in your case would be, so your policy would be allow app engine apps run their shared app ID, and then equals or starts with whatever kind of admin app you want to allow your users. But feel free to check out documentation about identity and access management. It's really, I would say, it's really powerful what you can do and how you can customize end user access to the whole Dynatrace platform.
So talking about policies and stuff like that, I'm thinking when I get there, I'm wondering, what about scopes? That's a little bit different, right?
Yeah. So in this whole context, so you have, on the one hand side, you have people who have some permissions. With policies, you define who can do what. And on the other side, you have apps, and apps require some scopes. So when you create your app in the app configuration file, so app config JSON file, you have to specify kind of what of actions can your app do. So for instance, if your app reads Grail data, you have to add to the app configuration a JSON file, the scope, storage, for instance, logs read if your app reads Grail data.
Have we got any in your app there?
Yeah, we have. So if you are into policies and permissions about and scopes about Dynatrace app, in our developer portal, so in dynatracedeveloper.com, you'll see the guide, which is called Add Permission Scopes to Use Dynatrace APIs. So please check that one out and see where you add those scopes, and yeah, and if you get maybe what we have experienced, so if you do some actions in your app which the app isn't allowed to do, you will get an error message saying, hey, you're missing scope XYZ.
Yeah.
And then you can just add the scope to our app config JSON file.
This is actually something that I've come across a lot of times in my apps because I always forget to add my scopes.
Yeah. But what I wanted to add to that one, so how does this work? So your app literally specifies the scopes which it needs to be executed. Then the end user has some other set of permissions. And when you, as an end user, open an app, and you can only do those things, so the intersection of the scope specified by the app and the permissions which the end user has.
So they got a match.
Exactly. It's an intersection. And for instance, maybe the app might visualize logs and metrics, but you might maybe only be allowed to see metrics. Then when you open the app, you don't see the logs, even though the app has specified the logs.
Understood. Okay. So that's a good way of bringing those two together, actually, because they are very much entwined.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool. So just a reminder to our audience out there today that we are here for you. So if you do have any questions that you would like to ask about custom app development on Dynatrace, you can go ahead and ask them in the comment section. And in the meantime, we are just going to keep on waffling away and hope that you guys get some lovely content out of it.
Yeah, Penny, maybe a question to you. So you're pretty active when it comes to video production.
Yes.
Do you have any updates to share?
I do have some updates to share, actually. So I have been very fortunate recently to do a new interview and do a new episode of Inside Dynatrace Apps. Perhaps we have a slide for it?
Yes, we do have.
Cool. Yeah, we have a... There we go. That's all good. So I have created a new video with Mike Hansen. So basically this is from data to decisions. So what I was poking Cindy about looking in his app and checking out all the charts and stuff was because I recently did this interview basically touching on lots of data points and how that you can see your data actually within your app. So if you're interested more in the UI functionality of Dynatrace apps and how you can really use UI within your app to get decisions from your data, then you can basically take a look at this, because at the end of the day, you want your app to be for your business needs. And so it's really important that you have the right charts, the right data, and everything there that you need to see. Yeah, so you can go check that out. I think we're going to send a link out in the comments now. You can check that out. And don't forget to give me a like, a comment, or a share if you like the video. Or if you don't like the video, just give it a like anyway. Very cool.
Okay.
Oh, and I can tell you a little bit about Inside Dynatrace App Series, perhaps, because maybe this is new to some of our audience.
Yeah, so what is the series all about?
Yeah, so the Inside Dynatrace App Series is basically a series of videos that we're doing all about data. Data apps. We're doing all about apps. So anything that you can find in there. So all the stuff that we're talking about here, usually we have a nice video about. We interview different PMs here at Dynatrace, and we do some more informational, educational videos. So you can go there, subscribe to the playlist, and check that out.
Nice. Because you mentioned already playlist, so we're having the session today. Where can I find actually the session? after today. If I
after today.
missed, or if I missed just the introduction.
Actually, it's a really good question. Yeah, so usually what we do is we would actually send them out to people by email, although I would need to check with our social and how we're going to get this, but I'm presuming we'll have some form of recording that we can send out and or put into YouTube, but I'm going to confirm.
Yeah, thanks, team.
There you go.
You can find this recording directly on our social media channels. So after this session,
Yep,
it will be on our social media channels.
So if you have any questions that you want to come back to and you want to hear from us again or see our delightful faces, you can just check them on our social media channels.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so maybe let's jump to our almost last slide, which we have prepared.
Absolutely. So here's just some check-in with different resources. I'm actually going to skip over resources because I'm going to share with you a little bit about those in a minute. But we're going to talk a little bit about the next office hours. So if you want to get it already in your calendar because you're, oh, we have a question. Hold on one second. We're absorbing the question. Maybe I will read the question and allow Cindy to take it in. So we have another question saying, can I build custom apps on top of existing Dynatrace apps? We have a use case involving ServiceNow integration in our environment. When an incident is created, the incident number is updated in the comments. Currently, we lack a filter based on the content in the comments added to problems. Is it possible to build a solution on top of the existing problems app to address this?
Good question. Unfortunately, the answer is no. We don't have yet the comments of problems available in Grail, but as soon as the comments are available on in Grail, you would be able to fulfill exactly that use case.
Very cool. And remember, if you do have any more questions, just feel free to ask them and we will stop and we will answer your questions straight away. In the meantime, I was discussing office hours, was I not?
Yes,
you
have been.
So yes, our next office hours will be in November the 12th. We will be using this Restream service again, so make sure that you sign up to our LinkedIn. And I think we will share that as well very shortly, the next LinkedIn registration. And you can come join us, ask your questions there. However, in the meantime, Cindy, would you mind doing a guided tour for me of the Dynatrace developer?
Sure, Penny. Let me change my screen. Yeah.
Let's just go to the homepage there.
Somehow my mouse today is not working properly.
No worries. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So basically, I would just like to share with you a little bit about our resources. So if you are new here, or if this is the first time you're coming across this, then this is for you. And if you're not, then I'm sorry, I'm just going to guide you through it once again. So this is Dynatrace Developer. Here you basically get all of the resources that you could possibly have about custom app development, all the way from tutorial videos, guides, how-tos. We even have links going to the community there as well. So this is your one-stop shop, essentially. Maybe if we just take a look at the quick start here. So here, actually, you can see we have a first app tutorial in 5 minutes. So you can get started plugging away with an app in just 5 minutes by watching. If I just hit that there, I think we'll show a nice video with Inder Mohan Singh, who is one of our developer advocates here at Dynatrace, and he will guide you through 5 minutes to an app. And there you go, you'll have a nice Hello World app there, essentially. If you want to go a little bit deeper into Dynatrace app development, we'd recommend that you get started on the tutorial. Here, this actually goes through a lot more, and you'll get like a fully fledged app, essentially, pulling in data and having some visualizations there. What else is in that tutorial? I can't actually remember off the top of my head. You make an app function, I believe.
It's accessing real data, accessing external data, visualizing data using tables.
Yes.
So
you get a little all-rounded experience there.
It's a mix of everything.
Exactly. So if you want to get started with your app development and you don't know where to start, then that's a really great place to get some inspiration and to understand the components that are pulling it together. And then if we take a look even further, you can see there that there's some tools there as well highlighted. These are really great to get started. So we have a VS Code extension. So for anyone using Visual Studio Code, this is essential for you guys there to actually check this out and make sure that you have this installed. And then you can use basically this page to have a look at all of the different things for the design system, as we've already mentioned, and all of the different features there within Dynatrace.
Yeah.
Cool.
And one thing I would like to add, all the release notes when it comes to Dynatrace apps, you can find in our release notes section. For instance, all the design system changes are listed there by version. So if you jump, for instance, into our components, you will see all the versions which we have yet released and all the change notes. So releases what we have actually changed within a particular release, and what you can expect from us approximately like every 2 to 3 weeks. If it's not holiday season, we are releasing actually new components, new SDKs, and updates about custom Dynatrace apps.
And Sini, it's really good that you mentioned that actually, because that brings me on to my next point. If we direct to the community page.
Yes.
So talking of release notes, we actually do a summary of our release notes. So anything that's really important to basically app development and that we feel that you as developers need to know, we release it within our developer newsletter, which is here within the community. Also, this is linked, don't worry, within Dynatrace Developer as well. This is all there for you, but here you can basically see a nice overview of all the different things that we've been working on, from the videos to the release notes as well. Here we'll only highlight it if it's really essential. And yeah, so this is kind of your once a month over guide of anything that's big happening within custom app development.
Yeah, thanks, Penny. Yeah, I see we don't have any other questions.
No more questions, but maybe let's just give them a couple more minutes. So a couple more minutes. So if you have any questions, please make sure that you ask them now or forever hold your peace, or until next month.
Or in the meantime,
we can take a look at the community and we can ask our question in the community. So yeah, you can ask them in the community. You can join us next office hours. Up to you.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. So then,
in that case, I think we're done.
Yeah,
this is a wrap. Thank you, Sini.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, everyone else.
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.